I'm Casey Rehm. I am a principal at Ashita Rehm Studio and a faculty member at SCIARC, where I am the coordinator of the Architectural Technology Program, as well as faculty director of the Platform and Automation Lab. Our installation speculates on the impacts of smart technologies on future urban development in Seoul at two very different scales. At one scale, we're looking at a master plan level, looking at the idea about how sensing apparatus can begin to mediate the relationship between the wilderness and the urban and rethink the typical and traditional thresholds of how a city operates as a defense against the kind of unknown, wild, and natural. This is done to begin to explore ideas that could begin to mediate climate effects and pollution effects and increase levels of population density while decreasing their overall climate impacts. On the other side, we're interested in how the prevalence of this sensing equipment within the city, from the smart pole surveillance systems within the city to the technology which allows the cashierless 7-Elevens and Lawsons and other forms of expedient commerce to operate, how these forms of voluntary and involuntary surveillance are impacting our behaviors and our aesthetics decisions as a population. At the first scale, we looked at several precedents in primarily the Songdo Smart City in Incheon, which is already integrated a significant amount of smart technology infrastructure, and also compared that against a list of planned and intended or already applied smart technologies that the city of Seoul. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to latch on to specific elements within the smart tech being applied to the city of Seoul. And primarily we're interested in the smart poles and the climate reading technologies there that are being implemented in Seoul. And specifically how this grid of smart poles could allow us to rethink the master plan of Seoul. We composited all of the multiple forms of data collection and reading we've done, from the dust simulation, the solar thermal scans, topographic analysis, wind studies, the aesthetics of the urban environment, including the kind of contemporary extant signage and graphic languages of Seoul's retail and commercial areas, to create this map where all of the versions of Seoul that we measured are kind of coexisting within a single graphic, underneath and flowing along with the large megastructures that we 3D printed based on our growth algorithms. The other scale is very different. It's much more smaller and personal scale. We're interested in how this kind of pervasive and continuous surveillance culture is modifying the type of behaviors we have as a society, but also as designers and people making aesthetic decisions of how they represent themselves in the urban environment. So for the piece of our installation that was looking at utilizing the kind of local scale surveillance, we mounted a hybrid LiDAR and color RGB camera at the center of the master plan. That we fed them through a series of neural networks to produce a real-time immersion in contemporary aesthetics that are prolific throughout Seoul's social media and capital media culture. I think the message that we're interested in sharing with Seoul and the global citizen with our work is both the potential and speculative excitement that can be found in the new technologies, the new types of intelligences that we can work with, and how we can begin to apply and construct future design strategies from the massive quantities of data that we're currently sensing and currently collecting. But at the same time, we want to kind of make clear the kind of also the shortcomings of that technology and the shortcomings of that data, moving away from this idea that somehow there's this objective third-person perfect model, and understand that it's really a project of interpretation and design about how to kind of move forward or speculate with the information that we're gathering from these systems.